Hi. How are you doing?
Pretty great. Yeah.
Yeah?
Spending the summer with, we have this baby now.
Yeah, Rowan.
Yeah.
How's Rowan doing?
She's great.
How old is she? She's a year now?
Yeah.
Gee whiz. Yeah, I guess.
I know.
That makes sense. We met.
It does add up. The math does actually add up.
Yeah.
But
has she walked? So she's walking?
She is thinking about it.
Oh, really?
She's not walking. She's all over the place, but not walking yet.
All right, any day.
Yeah.
It literally could be tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's a lot of standing and almost walking.
Yeah, but she's saying lots of things.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mostly dead.
Everything is dada.
Well, yeah, but that's because she can pronounce it. It's shorthand for dada, get mama.
Yeah.
That's what dada means.
Yeah, I think that dada, I think mama there is no difference between her and me. I'm just omnipresent.
Oh, interesting.
So that's how I've decided not to be offended by her.
No, but they just can articulate the D. They can't articulate the M yet. That's all. It's harder.
Well, that's my heart.
Yeah, that's true. Well, my son, Jacob, he took his first steps literally at his first birthday party.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, because we were at one of these places where they have like mommy and me classes and that kind of stuff, and that's where we had it. And there was a woman who kind of had one of those life-size puppets that she puts her arms through, and he was really into it, so she just kind of knew how to do it, where she would kind of go backward a little bit, and he was on his feet because he could kind of steady himself, and that's all he needed was he wanted to touch the clown, and she kept moving back a little bit, and he just kind of took his first steps at his first birthday party with like all of the people there. That was the last time he expressed any interest in being the center of attention.
Yeah.
And it's a good moment. Maybe he had peaked.
Yeah, that was his big win.
Yeah, you can't do better than that. And then flash forward now 14 years, and he just started high school today.
Wow. No.
Yeah, it's incredible. Wow. Yeah.
That's a pretty exciting moment.
I can't even wrap my head around that yet.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know what happened, but it all went by. So I got up really early this morning, and I headed out to meet him there. Because he lives with his mother, most of the time. He lives with me some of the time. Because it's like a tradition to be there the first day of school. It's kind of important. Especially in new school,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Big change.
Yeah, it's incredible. He's great. It's the best. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was really nice to get your email today, guys.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we're excited. It feels like, we birthed a baby, then this is our movie baby, and so the birth of the movie baby.
Yeah, had its first day at school on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Only in your scenario, Robert Longstreet is in it, which I don't have that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Although I guess my podcast is like my version of that, and I do have Longstreet in that.
That has Longstreet. There
Exactly.
you
You've got all kinds of little children out in the
Yeah.
world.
Actually, it's funny because today I was introduced to, over email, a filmmaker. What's his name? Daniel. I'm going to screw up his last name, but Daniel, and who has a new film starring Robert and Tally Medell, who I'm sure you know.
Jewels of Light and Dark?
That's the one, yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
So this producer and actor, Tara Culp, she I guess helped cast that movie, and so she made an introduction today. So, have you seen it or heard? No, I guess you couldn't have seen it.
I actually gave to that Kickstarter.
Oh, okay.
But,
good for you.
I don't know anything about the movie.
So you should use your producer on the film then. Go ahead. Yeah.
That's right.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm one of the EPs. I'm one of the 362 EPs. It's like Daniel Labs or Labs.
That's what it is.
Labs. He had a short film at Maryland the same year that we were there with something, and it might have been you were there with Mild and Lovely. I don't remember. It was a while ago now, like 4 years ago. But I met him at Maryland back then with his short, and I gave it a Kickstarter. I think he did it roughly around the time we did the Dr. Brinks Kickstarter.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
This is a great plug for it.
Yeah.
To recap here, I mentioned an email you sent letting me know that Dr. Brinks and Dr. Brinks is now available on demand, at least on iTunes and Amazon, Vudu, and Google Play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Comcast,
And all the, I think all the
Rogers.
major cable, pretty much anywhere that you can, pay to stream it, it's out. All the cable networks.
Oh, it's on cable as well.
Yeah.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Okay.
OD.
Did that happen this past week, or was it a couple weeks ago already?
It was all Tuesday.
On Tuesday. Okay, so this is perfect timing, because I think the plan is to stay up overnight. No, I'm not gonna. I don't have to do that, but I'm gonna put this. I would. Not saying I wouldn't do
If you could
that.
have this up online within the next hour and a half, that would be perfect.
I probably could do that. Sadly, I have the director of the documentary Hal, which is about Hal Ashby. So she's going to be. So that's going to be the other segment. Anyway, it just premiered tomorrow. This past Tuesday. You can now see Dr. Brinks. Now I saw it. I caught up with it at Maryland Film Festival last spring. That's where we met. No, a year ago. In 2017. That's where we all met, right? You were very pregnant.
Oh, yeah.
Which would make complete sense.
That's
That's the math. That tracks. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. It was at Maryland, right? Yeah.
That's right.
Right. Okay.
We
very good.
premiered was at Maryland.
Oh, okay. Very good. When did you shoot it?
The summer before that.
Summer of 2016.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you're a leading lady. How did you cast her?
Well, I had seen her in a couple dozen shorts that I had directed, and I thought she was pretty good.
Yeah. All right. For those
so,
listening, we just played a really big practical joke on you, Kristin. You also produced. You're also a producer credit. You have a producer credit.
Yeah. That's right.
But you're the big star in this film. You're fantastic in it. I just thought you were so great. You're charismatic and convincing and sexy, and you're just great in this film. And I'm like, I believed you and Robert Longstreet. You guys had chemistry. You know, it was amazing.
I can't take credit for acting that part. That was just
natural,
real.
Yeah.
Agree with Robert Longstreet. The rest of it, I will take credit. Thank you.
Sure. Good.
Yeah. Josh wrote it for me. Josh and his writer, Jonathan Pappas.
Yeah, we also wrote it for Robert.
Oh, and you wrote it for Robert.
Oh,
I had just worked with him in Thou Was Mild and Lovely.
Okay.
And
yeah, Kristin had just done Thou Was Mild and Lovely with Robert, and we were
Josephine Decker.
With Josephine Decker's movie, and we were going around at festivals and following that at the time. I think I also had a short out at the time, so I was around and seeing all those guys a lot. And Robert, I loved him. He was just amazing. He's amazing in that movie, and he's also just amazing in person. And so
that is true.
Yeah, he's a real character. So
all the ladies in Thou Was Mild and Lovely had a crush on Robert.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that actually had a lot to do with the idea of him being this older guy who she, falls for, because everyone had a crush on Robert that year on the festival circuit. So it all tracked to me. It just made perfect sense. So that's where a lot of that came from.
Well, you say you wrote it for Robert, but had he already bought into it? I mean, or you just sort of thought, I'll write it for him, and then we're going to submit it to him, and then see how it goes? Or what was that when you say you wrote it for him?
I don't remember the exact order of things, but he was gung-ho all along. I mean,
okay.
I think I saw him. I think maybe I had started writing it for him or had thought of him for it and saw him out somewhere, and I said, hey, I'm writing a part for you. And he's like, that's great. Mm-hmm. Kristin's great. I loved working with her. I love your shorts. And, he didn't even read it. I don't think it was written. And he was like, yeah, I'm on board. Whatever. Sounds good.
No, but at the same time, he says no to a lot of things. So we had to give him a script, and he had to read it first. But he did say he wanted to work together.
He said he wanted to do it.
But
then he had to read
I know from experience, that he says no just as much as he says yes.
That's very true.
Kind of he was excited to play a nice guy. Excited, and I think it was something different for him, so it was a little intimidating not to be able to hide behind being, evil or just having that gruff nature that he is.
Well, if you're going to compare it to Thou Wast Mild and Lovely, yeah, this is a total sea change kind of character, of course.
Yeah.
Can't get further, right? While we're at it, why don't we just talk a little bit quickly about mention the synopsis, where you Kristin, play a character named Michelle, correct? Mm-hmm. And you and your brother Marcus, who's played by Scott Rogers, are recently your parents. You're grown, obviously, the children of parents who are both therapists who have died in a plane crash, and the funeral is more or less the opening sequence, right? Maybe.
They're kind of globe-trotting aid workers. So the idea is that we had been bounced around to different countries as kids, kind of raised by nannies, and in our adult life had been estranged, and their death, their kind of sudden death, brings the brother and sister together.
They had been estranged?
Yeah, they hadn't seen each other, in a handful of years, and I always say, it's about two people who think that they're not grieving over parents that they never really knew or liked.
Right.
And it's a comedy.
Right, a dark comedy. A dark comedy. Yeah, it absolutely is. And Robert, who we've been talking about, he plays Bill, who is father of...
Father-in-law, yeah. He's Marcus's new wife. Marcus's father.
Yeah. Okay.
Who they've all met, Michelle had met them at the wedding, but is never really around, so she doesn't really know these people too well.
Right. And Robert can't resist Michelle's wares, I guess you could say.
Yeah. She won't let him.
She seduces. She kind of seduces him in that way, like Disclosure, where Demi Moore seduced Michael Douglas. I'm kidding.
I can't remember if she's wearing a see-through caftan in that movie, but if she is, then yes, it's exactly that.
Close to it. And then also Ashley Spillers is in it. She plays Marcus's wife, correct?
That's right.
It's been a little while. I actually saw it, of course, again. I saw it twice, but it has been a little while. Right. And so Roberts plays Ashley's father. That's what you were saying before.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And it all kind of takes place over the subsequent days after the funeral, when they're sorting out their parents' things that are all shipped to his house, correct? And then there's all this information and dark secrets that come out about the family and everything.
That's right.
Like that in fact, Marcus doesn't own his house or can't. Right, the parents. Yeah. It's his parents' house.
Right.
Yeah,
the parents owned the house. The foundation, I think they're like the Brinks Foundation. The parents owned the house. Everything's in the foundation's name or the parents' name.
Yeah. But it seems like the core of the film, of course. Well, obviously, it's the relationship between the brother and sister, who have literally a love-hate type of relationship. I mean, it's a love relationship, but there's a lot of tension there because when they come together, it brings back a huge amount of baggage. So staying apart is simpler. It has been simpler. But staying apart, unfortunately, it doesn't really lead to healing. It doesn't lead to a sense of health or, closure, whatever you want to call it, right?
That's right.
Yeah, totally.
That's right. Yeah, Marcus, in particular, in the dynamic between the brother and sister, Marcus, I think, is a little bitter that Michelle left. Marcus is in the hometown they grew up in. Marcus is very much about having a family and rooting himself to try to make up for the ridiculousness of his childhood. And Michelle has the opposite reaction and is, is never around, and she, kind of appears and disappears in and out of his life. And so that's one of the major causes of tension between them.
I don't know if it was intentional, but in a way, because she's decided to break away, there is a sense of owning her life and moving on, which is, possibly or potentially a sign of maturity, However, getting to know her, we realize, there's a lot more going on there than just maturity. And on the other hand, like you're describing Marcus as staying home and rooting himself and creating a family of his own is also a sign of maturity. Yet there's also this strain of this man-child that's going on, because he's got this, I don't want to call it a dark side, but he definitely has this childish side to him that he grapples with, right? So they both have that.
That's absolutely
right.
They
can't quite grow up, can they?
No, and when John and I were writing this, that was kind of our approach, is you've got this brother and sister that grew up with the same problem in the same house, and then they've taken, in their adult life, they've taken two totally different routes to deal with it, and there's validity to what each of them are doing, but they're, at the same time, they're both kind of narcissistic and messed up, and it's not effective for either one of them. The way that they've been doing things, even the fact that it's total opposite approaches, neither approach is working at the moment for these two characters.
Well, we all know that the two are going to come together, brother and sister are going to kind of work out. I mean, I can appreciate this by saying, I don't think I'm giving away well, it's a bit of a spoiler, but I mean, you get a sense that it's a love story about the brother and sister, and of course, I don't mean anything questionable about that. It's a sisterly, brotherly love, but we kind of get a sense from the film that we're going to have a bit of that the two are going to come together. But having said that, there's quite a few things in this film that you don't expect and are not predictable, which I can appreciate. I don't know if that was something as you were writing it also with your partner, if you guys were how much like you wanted to try to avoid those types of, I don't know. I don't want to even.
Sure. I mean, I don't. You don't want it to be predictable, for
right.
Sure.
But you want it to be authentic, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at every stage, I don't think we ever tried to do something specifically because you don't expect it. But as we were writing it, we just kept taking it places that amused us. Really, just watching these people and their ridiculous behavior, and whatever made us laugh is what the characters did next.
Yeah,
and I sort of see some of the vignettes, like I see the short films that Josh and I have made that he's written and directed. I see them in the different scenes in the movie that almost could act like standalone short films in and of themselves. So I think that that's part of a style and a fun way of approaching scene work that Josh had kind of developed. Like the almost threesome, the weird, some of the weird sex, all those things
a lot of
are almost like we've made films for years together, just for fun, but and always called them explosive bolts. And I see those little scenes as like mini explosive bolts inside of a movie.
Interesting. So yeah, I see that you have like at least 4 shorts. Right. Are these available to see? The House Guest, Dinner with Holly, those?
Yeah, I think the most of them are online. I think
Vimeo.
We used to have a website back in the day, but I think right now things on Vimeo under Explosive Bolts.
Okay.
There were many of them. We were just kind of playing around. We've been doing this for years. We started, I think, around 2008, 2007, just making these little shorts, and some of them are very just strange, avant-garde, little weird shorts, 45 seconds long, a minute long. We made a lot of them, and we worked with a lot of friends and collaborators. It was a lot of fun. I think about 4 of them we took on the road.
Yeah, I mean, they were really just a way to practice making things.
Sure,
I had come from a theater background, and I was pretty frustrated with shooting something and then not seeing it for 6 months, a year and a half. And I just thought that was a pretty terrible way to improve as an actor. So luckily, Josh can work a camera, direct, write, and edit. And so we would make things together, and I would immediately be able to see what I had done and what was working and what wasn't working. And we also took that opportunity to get through all kinds of fights as a couple. And by the time we made it to working with other people, we had 80% of our fights. So I think it was helpful in multiple ways.
You had purged that part of it, or
we were a well-oiled machine.
Right.
Yeah, pretty well-oiled.
Pretty much.
A very oily machine. The name of the film again is Dr. Brinks and Dr. Brinks, and it's now available on iTunes and most other major streaming platforms, as well as on demand on cable. Where are you guys from originally? What's your background? Kristin, where did you grow up? Where did you spend your formative years? I know you guys live currently in Los Angeles, right?
Yeah, I grew up mostly in West Virginia, in Wheeling, West Virginia, the northern panhandle, which has a great visual if you have ever met anyone from West Virginia. It's just the middle finger sticking up.
Naturally.
Yeah, of course. Just like Michigan and, just a couple states are blessed with visuals to go along with them. And then I went to school for theater at Northwestern outside of Chicago. And we met in New York, where I moved after school.
Oh, yeah. You lived in New York?
I lived in New York, for about 6 years.
Really?
And was doing ensemble devised theater and, living that. That was my jam at the moment. And and that's when I met Josh. And we were dating for 2 weeks. And he said, I think I'm going to move to LA. And I was like, cool. Random dude that I just started dating in New York. That's fine with me. So it was my foray into casual dating in a big city, and it was a failure as far as casual dating went.
Yeah.
What years? Sorry?
Well, that was 12 years ago, so.
Okay. Post 9/11.
Post 9/11 New York. But you were...
2006. I was in New York for a while. I'm from Maryland originally.
Okay.
I grew up in the suburbs in a place called Ellicott City outside of Baltimore, but my mother actually has been living in Baltimore pretty much since I left after high school, and so Maryland Film Festival was a lot of fun.
Right.
We've been at Maryland over and over, and my mother lives, I think a mile and a half from where all the festival stuff happens, so it's...
walking distance. Yeah.
Exactly. It's been really fun. And between movies that Kristin's been in and movies that I've made or edited or worked on, we were there every year for 5-6 years in a row. So it's a lot of fun.
Right. Well, it seems like that they care a lot about the whole Maryland connection, as well as selecting films that they believe in.
They do. They do, and they've been very good to us over the years.
That's nice.
And we honestly wouldn't have had, I don't think we could have made this film without knowing about the Maryland Film Festival. Meeting people at the filmmaker conference, hearing people's honest version of their creative process, and hearing about money and how to fund films, that's the whole inspiration for this movie.
I appreciate it. Not only that, I was definitely had heard good things about it. I had heard that it was a film I should go check out while I was at Maryland, and I'm really glad I did. Of course, knowing Robert, knowing Ashley was definitely a motive, but I really enjoyed the movie, as you guys know. And I want a lot of people to see it. I want people to hear this and go see it. And
so do we.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's
well, naturally. Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you guys up to? I know. Well, you're parenting. You have a very young child.
Yeah, we've been doing some parenting. That's for sure.
Does little
Rowan Louise?
Rowan, of course, Rowan Louise. Does she show any acting ability at this stage? Any or maybe directing? As a 1-year-old?
Listen, babies and animals are the best actors around.
True.
That's a fact. And everyone else is just trying to get as close to their spontaneity,
right, and purity
as possibly can.
Yeah, pure
so
truth.
Right, there's no
pure truth.
there's no self-consciousness.
They're hilarious. They're really good clowns. They fail at everything. So she's, I'm just trying to be as good as her.
Well, you joke around. Maybe you're not joking, but I mean, truthfully, both of those species, shall we say, to have no self-consciousness. So, I mean, isn't that really what makes an actor? I mean, or let's put it this way, isn't that a crucial component to being a great actor? Is a lack of self-consciousness, a lack of fear. It's like you're not second guessing yourself. I mean, you have to get out of your own way.
Oh yeah.
I mean, go ahead.
Then the net will appear. That's the goal. But no, it's true. Honestly, it is true. That's why animals and babies will always upstage you.
Right, that's true. Yeah, but I see a lot of this in your performance in Dr. Brinks. I mean, I really see there's a sense of risk taking in the performance. I don't know if you feel that way about it, but.
Hey, yeah, I do. Thank you. Mm-hmm. I especially do in this film because I felt so comfortable with Josh. I knew that he wasn't going to let me get away with things that didn't feel real to him. Mm-hmm. But then furthermore, he always also allowed me something that I find is lacking a lot in film work, which is the ability to fail. Mm-hmm. I love to push things to the point where they no longer work and then bring it back. And that just takes time and trust. And I do think that, getting out of your own way is something that's important in performance. And it was easier for me to do that on a set that felt like mine with a person that I really trusted. So yeah, I'm glad that you feel that way about it.
What was the dynamic like being married and being a couple? I mean, do you think... I mean, I guess maybe, I don't know, you worked with Josephine. How do you compare and contrast those situations? And you worked with Robert in both of those?
Yeah, well, every director is different. Josephine, I felt very collaborative with her in that she's feeling out these different moments in her scripts in a very active way. Mm-hmm. And so I felt like I was taken care of in that way. Mm-hmm. And then with Josh, I feel a little bit more, I don't know, maybe it's because he's an editor. I have an idea that he's written the words and we've rehearsed them enough that, well, first we're saying the words that he wrote, and not improvising at all. So there's the feeling that it's more of a rehearsed thing where we're finding different beats and shaping them. And so I feel like he has an idea of a thing that's going to make him happy. This is how the scene functions. And once you've hit the beats that he likes, that he wants, you've completed that job. And then there's a freedom inside of that to explore. And I think our personal relationship helped. I don't know, you can weigh in if you feel differently, but he's always helped me with my auditions, and he's always worked, we have a good secondhand
we've been doing a lot of stuff together.
Yeah. So I think it was pretty great.
It's interesting.
But you do have to be getting along. We have also worked very hard to get along and be nice to each other. Same with having a baby,
Yeah, no.
If you want to let that stress get to you, it will kind of crack your relationship open and it'll be a big old mess. But if you can kind of stay kind and loving, it's the best.
But that's just an idea. What are the strategies? What you have to have tactics to do that. I mean, it's a matter of when you're starting, the tension is kind of mounting and you feel like, tempers could flare, things could be said. How do you, what do you do? I mean, you could say you come together, but...
Do you have an answer, though? I want to hear what your answer is.
Did you guys... I mean, it could also just be a very strong foundation that existed because you guys, I don't know, waited and really worked on it. But it sounds like you kind of met and a couple of days later moved to LA together. I don't know. It just sounds crazy.
Yeah.
Does not sound like a sturdy foundation.
Yeah.
But I'll say, I think part of it is trust that we've built up over the years. I mean, our early films, he would say, "You're blinking too much," and I would hear in my head, I don't love you. You're bad at what you do. You know.
Well, why wouldn't you hear that?
We'll
That's what that means.
Personally.
Isn't it? No. Yeah.
And so I would get huffy, and then we would watch the footage, and I would think, what alien am I trying to play that's blinked 17 times a minute, you know, or whatever it was. So I learned that he's my objective eye outside of the world that I'm performing inside. Mm-hmm. But also, I think when tensions run high, this is my relationship advice. I don't know if anyone out there is interested, but I think the way to solve it is always to figure out what the most vulnerable thing you can do in that moment is, what the most vulnerable part of yourself is, and why you're getting defensive. And if you can take a step back and have the balls to expose that, or have the grace to expose that, then I think you're on a path towards diffusing. That's vulnerability. Big thumbs up.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I think being vulnerable, if you can't be vulnerable, and, well, it's a risky thing to do, but it's risky with somebody who you haven't reached a level of trust yet. It's something you're working towards, but to get there, you have to be vulnerable with each other. So that's the period of time where you really just are taking the big emotional risks, you know. Once you built it, then you can be vulnerable because, you know, the other person's got your back, you know. Whether it's personally in family life or on the set, you know, whatever it is.
Yeah, and it's a lot, you know, to work together as a couple, you know, is something we worked out over the years and did shorts, and we kind of have a shorthand, and, you know, I'll help her with auditions for other things. And,
she doesn't blink as much.
You know, we do a lot of collaborating. So we had a shorthand on that front as director, actor, but the movie also mostly took place in our home with all our stuff. The set dressing is all our things. Okay. In our space, our dog is in this movie. Our friends and family, our mothers have cameos in this movie. I mean, it was so wedding? Personal. And we would wake up every morning.
At the funeral?
What's that?
Were they at the funeral?
Yeah, they're at the funeral. That's right. We flew them in to be background at the funeral. But
nice.
But yeah, I mean, we'd wake up in the morning, and our bedroom, as soon as the alarm would go off, our bedroom would turn into hair and makeup. Mm-hmm. It was one of the only rooms in the house with air conditioning. So, you know, it was very personal. It was a personal movie, but it was also very personal, just invasive even in our lives. That 3 busy weeks making that movie. So there was a lot to deal with. As far as feelings and all that, you know, it's not like getting up and going to work, you know. Yeah. It's like getting up and work would come to us, and all of a sudden, a crew of 25 people would descend on our house as soon as we woke up in the morning.
Yeah, maybe we just didn't even have the luxury of fighting about the things we would have normally.
Yeah, there was not really even time to think about it.
It would have been kind of selfish, right?
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, and I mean, that's how it is when you make really low-budget movies. You really have to use everything. And I don't think we could do that again. I don't know how you feel. It was, you know, you realize that...
Well, you can't do a sequel in there.
No, we moved on.
You sold the house. Or it got taken, I should say. Yeah. Well, my ex-wife is doing my podcast next week or the week after.
Ooh, I can't wait to tune in.
Yeah.
She's an actor.
Electricity.
Yeah. She's in something that's going to get kind of a, you know, she's in a film, and it's getting, well, you know, it was a play, and then it was filmed, and it's getting a sort of a theatrical nationwide. So we finally had an opportunity to do the pie. You know, it's weird. It's I don't know where it's going to go.
I think that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Why everyone will be tuning in. Everyone wants to know where it's going to go.
Yeah. But we definitely know that no kids will be in the play, you know, in the room. That much we know. Sure. Where we do this.
Yep.
That's fair. In case it gets messy. I mean, you got to at least give the fans something. You got to have one fight. You know.
Well. Yeah.
embarrassing story from the past.
Oh, there will be. It's unavoidable. Yeah. Has to happen. Has to happen. I want to just mention this film once again because it's special, and the people in it who made it are special. It's called Dr. Brinks and Dr. Brinks, and it stars Scott Rogers and Robert Longstreet, Ashley Spillers, and the one and only Kristin Blinky Slaysman.
Got that blinking under control.
Oh, good. Okay.
It took a long time, but about halfway through the movie, I got that blinking under control. And then I just VFX the earlier blinking right out of there, so it's all good.
Yes, thank you.
I have my own version of that on this podcast, but the beauty is I can edit out the ums. It's just
right.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, it's easy, so nobody knows how much I might say because they're missing from the final edit. See it right there. The film is directed and co-written by Josh Crockett, who we've been talking with, and we'll mention Jonathan. Is it Pappas or Pappas?
Pappas,
yep. Like Irene Pappas. What else? Anything else we should mention? It's available on iTunes and Amazon. Again, I said right now, so you can go from listening.
It has killer performances.
It does.
The ensemble is great, and I'd like to say that I think the music's really fantastic.
Who designed the poster? I love the poster. It's like from out of Mad Magazine or something.
Yeah, that's this artist Phil Roberts, who's Kristin found him. We were looking. I wanted this old school Jack Davis artwork feel, and we actually found this guy Phil Roberts, and he's one of the guys. He was doing movie posters in the 80s. He did Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield.
Oh, yeah. So he really is, yeah. I remember those.
He did that, yeah. Hot Dog the movie he did, and a bunch of other weird things from the 80s. Great guy, and it was a ton of fun, because that was the style I wanted, but I did not expect to find actually one of the guys that did those posters back in the day, and he was great. We sent him a copy of the movie. He watched the movie beginning to end and then started sending us sketches.
Fantastic.
He steals all sorts of little jokes from the movie and puts them into his drawing and everything. It was really great working with him.
Yeah, he's genius. I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
And you guys are immortalized. Well, at least Kristin is.
Yeah.
Let's do this again soon. I mean, I don't know, what you guys will be directing, acting in next, but I'd love to follow up again.
We will.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be great. It's so nice to talk to you.
Same here. And I'm glad we switched over to audio, too, because this has been much
smoother.
Much smoother, exactly. Yeah, sorry for that. You never know how it's going to go until you start it. Well, anyway. But, okay, take care, and I'll have this up, believe it or not, tomorrow.
Wow.
Woo! Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
I didn't last night, but I think tonight I might... When I finally close my eyes, I'm going to. I want to be at my kid's school this morning, as I mentioned, so I just I did not really get.
Good luck to him.
Thank you.
Making his way through high school.
That's fun.
That's
really a big step. That's a big one.
Yeah, it is. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Well, thanks to you for always being so supportive and for getting people's eyes on it. Mm-hmm. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good night. Talk soon.
Have a sweet dreams.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
Bye, Adam.
All right. Bye-bye.